second, okay? My cheeks are very red now. Okay, I still have 0 viewers on YouTube. You see how interested people are in my lessons? 0 viewers still. But it's a Saturday night, and you know, like people are out and having fun as if there is no corona. Mm. Yalla, you know what? I'm just gonna start. Even if there's no people, they can join later on. And by the way, you can watch this lesson later on. If you're busy now, you can always have the chance to watch it on my YouTube channel. Yalla, I will turn my camera. I won't be able to see your comments anymore on Instagram, guys. But later on, I can turn, every now and then, I will be turning my camera to make sure you are all okay and I answer your questions in case you have questions. For now, I'm not going to be answering your questions, okay? Every now and then, as I said, I'm going to stop and I'm going to answer as many questions as possible. I think you can see. Do you prefer if I turn my camera horizontally? What do you think? Guys, Instagram people, what do you think? Do you prefer if I turn my camera horizontally? So you can see? Yeah, like that. I think you can see better. Yeah, I'll leave it like that for now, and then you can turn it if it's better for you. Okay? يلا ها. خلينا نبلش means let's begin. So if you didn't do lesson 1 or lesson 2, of course, you have to not do this lesson first. You have to go do lesson 1 and 2 because this is a continuation of these lessons. So please make sure, guys, do part 1 and part 2, and then you can join part 3. Okay? Hi, Ali. Yalla. So last time we did the letters ba, ta, and tha. Okay? In Lebanese, you can pronounce it be, te, and the, BTC. We also did noon and ya, or in Lebanese again, you can pronounce it as noon and ye. These are the ones. So you should be very good at these letters to be able to continue with this lesson. Otherwise, don't do it. As I said, go back, do the previous lessons, and then come back to here. Today, we're gonna do just 2 letters, and then we will practice a few words with letters we already know and with the new letters. So the one we will start with is the Alif. That's the name of the letter. I will explain later on how we pronounce it. And the other one will be the letter Waw. Okay? It's here. One second, let me scroll down. It's this one here. Okay? So Alif and Waw. How do we pronounce these? And actually, if we learn today the Alif and the Waw, it means we already know all the Arabic vowels. We have the Alif, we have the Waw, and we already did the letter Ya. Okay? Which means if we learn these 2 today, we have 3 vowels in Arabic. We know this one already. I'm just going to quickly recap and tell you that this letter Ya, who remembers what sound it has? Can you type me here on Instagram? I can still see your comments. You can let me know what is the sound of this letter. Oh, I'm just going to tell you. So it can be 2 sounds. It can be cloudy as in E, okay? And it can also be Y as in yellow, okay? Just like the English Y, the letter Y. It's the same sound, cloudy, E, or yellow. Now, the letter Alif, which we will learn today, I'm going to just start with the Alif. Let's forget about the Waw for now, okay? I'm going to start with the letter Alif. The Alif has a A sound when it's a vowel. In Lebanese, it can also sound like A. It's either A or A. You should know the word to be able to pronounce it. With time, you will be able to, kind of have more vocab and a larger repertoire. So you can guess if it's a or A. But to be on the safe side, if you're not sure whether it's a or A, you could always pronounce it as A. It depends on the word. It will always be correct. It might not be just 100% the Lebanese dialect, but it will always be like standard Arabic or any other Arabic dialect. Okay? let's begin. How do we write this letter? This letter looks very easy, but it's like kind of a rebellious letter. I'm gonna put a star next to it, and I usually call it a star letter because there's no reason. Actually, there is a reason, because there was a list I was following and I was showing to my students, and they had stars next to some letters, and we just naturally ended up calling them star letters. So, Alif is one of the star letters. And what is a star letter? You will know now. Firstly, let's learn how to write it. Yalla. As usual, if you started already creating a list, you have the form that is alone with your Arabic letters. You have the form that is at the beginning of the word. You have the form that is in the middle of the word. And you have the form that is at the end of the word. So how does the alif look when it's at the beginning of the word? It's going to be simply just a line. That's it. It's just a line from here. One second. From up to down. Really, just a line. It's quite a long line. Let's imagine this is your notebook. You have a line here and a line here. It depends on how close your lines are to each other, but most probably it's going to be just before your line and it stops here. It doesn't have to touch the one above, no. Just a bit under your other line. Okay? So basically it's just a line. It sits on your horizontal line here. Okay? This is when it's alone. Now, at the beginning of the word, it's also exactly the same. It doesn't change. It's also just a line. Okay? So, alone, it's a line. At the beginning of your word is also a line. Now, in the middle of the word, it has to have a tail. So, actually, it's this one, but with a tail. But I'm never going to do this. Why? Why? Who knows why? Because in Arabic, we always start from right to left. So I can't actually draw this and then put the tail. It's like I'm going to the left. No. So I always have to start with the tail, and then I can take it up. So I start with the tail. Sorry, this should be more straighter. And then up. Tail, up. Tail, up. I like this one most. This one is not the best handwriting. Okay, so as you notice, I'm not doing this. These two lines are not equal. This is just a tail, so it has to be just a short tail. And then this line should be much longer. Okay, so again, when it's at the beginning of the word, it's just a line. It's a vertical line. When it's alone, also it's a vertical line. In the middle of the word, it's a tail, which goes up like that. Again, at the end, it's a tail, it goes up. So you notice in this letter, the alone form and the beginning form, the beginning of the word basically form, are the same. When it's in the middle of the word or when it's at the end of the word, they are also the same. They don't change. Why? Because this is a star letter. And what is actually a star letter? Let me turn my camera and show you something. So basically, guys, when I have, where should I place this? Let me go for it. So when in the letters that we learned so far in Arabic, one second, we were saying that a letter always joins to the previous letter and to the letter after. It's like you have two hands or two tails, okay? So on the right, I should have a tail, so I attach myself to the letter before. And on the left, I should have another tail, so I attach myself to the letter after, if I'm the letter, basically. Okay? But this is a star letter. It's an alif. It does not join on the left. It doesn't like its, I don't know, left neighbors. It only likes its right neighbors, and it only holds the hand of its right neighbors. That's why we only need one tail. We don't need another tail because it's anyways ignoring its left neighbors. Okay, you can think of it this way. So that's why here, going back to our document here, you see I did not put a tail here. Okay, here too I did not put a tail. Okay, because It's a star letter. You can put a little star for now here just to remember this and to remind yourself every time you see it, okay, remember, I'm not gonna join it to the letter after. So now what am I gonna do? If I were to join the alif and the alif and the alif together, let's imagine you will never ever 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 see in your life 3 alifs together in Arabic. But let's say you do. How are you gonna join them? Let's think about it. Let me firstly rewrite the forms here in front of you. This is when it's alone. This is when it's at the beginning of the word. This is when it's in the middle of the word. And this is when it's at the end of the word. So now I'm going to draw an alif plus an alif plus an alif. So I have the beginning of the word form. And I have the middle of the word form. And I have the end form. Do you think this is correct? Who can tell me? Somebody tell me if this is correct or not. I'm gonna also see if my YouTube students can tell me if this is correct or not. What do you think? Sure. I'm gonna give you the answer because no one wants to talk to me. Okay, so basically, no, this is wrong. Why? Think of it this way. Why does a letter have a tail? Because it needs to attach itself to the letter before, right? Type, if the letter before has a star already, okay, it doesn't attach itself to this next one. Why would you need a tail in the first place? It becomes redundant. You will not need it. So you cross it out. And this too is a star letter. Remember, it's an alif. It does not like its left neighbor. So also we're going to cross out this tail because it's pointless to have a tail if you're not going to attach it to the letter before. That's why, actually, if you want to join the alifs, they don't ever join. You just place them next to each other like that. Alif, alif, and alif. They don't join. But let's say I want to join this alif to a letter before. I could do that. We already know the letter ba. That's why I'm going to use the letter ba for now. If I want to do, let me erase this part. No, I'm not going to erase it. I'm going to scroll down up one second. Okay. For example, if I want to do ba plus alif, yeah? So this is my ba plus alif. This is the initial form of the ba. That's how it looks. Remember from the previous lesson? Plus alif. In this case, look at this. Let me highlight it to see if you can see it better. Actually, let me choose another color. Let's choose the pink one, okay? So here, there is a tail. You see it? And here, there is also a tail. And ba is not a star letter, which means, khalas, I can join them together. So this is my first ba. That's the ba. And here, the tail of it that goes up, that's the alif. So now you have a ba or be, sometimes pronounced as be in Lebanese Arabic. Okay? So remember, what is the rule with star letters? Star letters only have a tail on the right. They don't have a tail on the left. That's rule number 1. Let me write it down. And rule number 2, star letters don't like their left neighbors. That's why they take away the tail of the left neighbor. I think if somebody hears us, they would think like, what the hell is she talking about? But I know you understand what I'm saying, okay? I hope you are understanding what I'm saying. So, one second, let me put this up a bit. So rule number 1, star letters only have a tail on the right side. On the right. The letter coming after a star letter loses its right tail. Okay? Yalla, you can write these rules down so you can remember them. Anyone has a question so far? If you have any question, just really ask me before I move on. Okay? Anyone? No one? Can I erase? Today I'm just speaking alone, really. Yeah, I'm gonna erase. So, star letters don't have a tail on the left, they only have a tail on the right, and the letter after a star letter loses its right tail because it's pointless to have a tail if you're not gonna attach yourself to the letter before. We can also write the word, for example, door. In Arabic, door is babe. Babe. It has a ba plus alif plus ba, or b plus alif plus a. Here, this alif, we're not going to pronounce it bab, although some Arabic countries do pronounce it bab, and in standard Arabic they say bab. In Lebanese, we will pronounce it as a, babe, babe. So, how am I going to join this? I have the initial form of the ba, that's the initial form. When I say initial, it means when it comes at the beginning of the word. Plus, you have the middle form of the alif, which looks like this. Plus, you have the final form of the b, which looks like this. So now, when I come to join them, it will be b. This is, I'm removing my hand, but you shouldn't remove your hand, okay? B, just to show you, I'm removing my hand. B, and then a, and then b. What happened here? You see, the final form here of the ba lost its tail. Why? Because it's followed by a star letter, and the star letter eats tails, let's say, okay? It eats its tail. It doesn't need a tail. This one, for example, if I put a line here, if I put a tail, even if I didn't join it, it would have been wrong. Why? Because after a star letter, the letter shouldn't have a tail. Clear? Yes? Yalla. We will practice this a lot more, but let me move now to the waw and we can come back to this, okay? You can even write the word baba, which is like a cliche way of teaching this letter, okay? Let me be cliche and do the same. So that's the letter ba, actually, plus alif, plus ba, plus alif. Before you start writing, actually, always look for your star letters, okay? Okay, actually, we have two here. I'm going to put a star next to it, and I'm going to put a star next to this. So, and something very, very, very important, guys, never start, when you're beginners, never start immediately writing your words. Always analyze it, break it down. So in your head, for example, you have to say this. Oh, I need the initial form of the ba. When it's at the beginning of the word, it should look like this. Okay, I have it. It's in front of my eyes. There's no way I can get confused. Then I can draw the plus. And then I think, oh, I need the middle form of the alif. It's this one. Will I get confused? Of course not. It's in front of my eyes. I will put a star just as a reminder that the next letter should lose its tail. So basically, I will still need the middle form of the ba. I will just write it. But remember, I won't need this tail, so I'm gonna erase it. So it looks like as if you're starting a word from the beginning again. Plus, you have the middle form of the alif. You see now everything is in front of you. You have be, alif, and you join it together. You put the tails on top of each other. It's never like you have the be here and you elongate it because this is the alif. Never. No. This and this are on top of each other, you see? But of course, it's not going to look like that. You will make it cleaner and you immediately go as if they have one tail. They overlap the tails. From the tail up, that's it. So ba, ba, and we have another be alif here. So it's ba, baba, daddy, baba. Okay? So, you see, you already learned to write two words today. Babe and baba. But why do we pronounce the a and the a? Sometimes we pronounce it as a, sometimes a. We just do that in Lebanese. It's just a Lebanese pronunciation thing, okay? So, babe and ba. So babe is a door. Let me write it with Roman letters so you can remember the pronunciation. It's babe. and ba, ba. Okay. Who has a question? Let me check if anyone has a question. To me, a virtual Arabic keyword, same you are explaining now as a. I didn't understand your question, and can you repeat, please? Hi, Didier. Appears to me a virtual Arabic keyword as a is the same as you're experiencing as a. I think if your question is what I understand, whether sometimes we're pronouncing the alif as a and sometimes we are pronouncing it as a, it's true. Okay? And you see, some people are already writing, which is great. And also, by the way, download the Arabic keyboard on your WhatsApp, on your phone, because you can play around with it, because it's so cool. Why? Because sometimes if you don't remember how to write the middle of the form of the be, okay, let's say you wrote be plus be plus be on your WhatsApp, it will change them automatically from the initial to the middle to the final form, which makes your life a bit easier and you can remember them. You can experiment with it, you can play with your keyboard, and it will just make you get used to writing as well. Okay, so yeah, we did the alif, which is our vowel that sounds as a or a, and we already have another vowel, which is the letter ya, which when it sounds like a e, that's when it's a vowel, and sometimes it's a consonant as a y. And now we will do the letter wow. It's not like wow, like something that's wow. It's wow. But if you want to remember it, you can, just pronounce it wow. Okay, so the name of the letter is wow. And it also has two sounds. It can be boots, as in oo, okay? And it can be window, window, So the sound is like the W in English or the oo in English. Boots or window. Write these words as well, so you don't forget. Wow sounds like a oo or a W. It depends on the word. As I say, the more words you know, the more you can guess how to pronounce it. How do we write this wow? It's actually also a rebellious letter, and it's a star letter. So it won't need a tail on the left in any case, whether it's in the middle or at the beginning, it won't need it. Firstly, it looks like a big comma that's sitting on the line. Something like this. Oh my God, my handwriting is not great with this pen. Again, yeah, this one is good. The second one is nice, you see? Again, a big comma that sits on the line. It's curvy. Guys, it's not like this. I have students who do this. No, it's not like this. It's not like this as well. Somewhere in the middle, like curve it up. And then just slide it on the line, okay? Again, this is how it looks when it's alone. Yalla, try with me a few times. Alone. Guys, whoever is joining now, you can watch this video later on YouTube. I'm going to put the link, or you can quickly go to my YouTube channel. I'm doing it now, okay? So we're doing the letter wow. We just started with the letter wow, so if you've just arrived, go ahead and yalla, grab a piece of paper and a pencil and practice with me. If you listen fine, it's great and it's all good, but if you practice it, it's much better. You will internalize it because it becomes physiological. Your brain memorizes it faster. That's how it looks when it's alone. Now, when it's at the beginning of the word, it looks exactly the same, no change. Exactly the same. Okay, so this is alone. This is also the beginning of the word. It doesn't change. Now, how does it look when it's in the middle of the word? It needs a tail on the right. Does it need a tail on the left? Who can answer me? It's a star letter. Does it need a tail on the right? Is this correct? Does it need a tail on the left? What do you think? Who knows? Who knows? No one knows? Come on. Don't, in Arabic we say ما تسودوا لي وجهي, like how can I say don't blacken my face? It's a way to say come on, don't embarrass me. يلا ما علي رح تسودوا لي وجهي. Okay, يلا, in the middle it has a tail. I'm starting with the tail. It's not on the line. It's a floating tail. So it should be up higher. From the tail, you do the wow. Okay? Again. From the tail, you do the wow. So tail, floating, and wow. Okay? Tail and wow. Tail and wow. So I don't need any tails on the left because it's a star letter. It doesn't like its left neighbors. But I do need this tail here because let's say there's a letter before, the letter ba, for example. It will be here. Because, guys, something very, very important. You see this tail, it's not on the line. It's floating. And because it's floating, every time you have a floating tail in a letter, it means if you have a letter that comes before it, it should float. I can never, for example, write a B here and do the tail all the way up to there. That's wrong. I have to remember to start my B higher to join it to the letter before, after. Of course, you don't write the wow first. That's why it should be like this. Boo, for example, if I want to write a boo, I start with my B higher. I should remember that. Okay, because the tail of the wow is floating, it's not on the line. It's like this. If the wow had a tail on the line, let's imagine, which is not, yes, the B was going to be on the line too, on the horizontal line, I mean. But it's not. Why? Because it had the wow, the letter wow, has a floating tail. It likes to push all the letters before up. That's why, ideally, you should remember to start higher. But as I told you the other day, sometimes whenever we have a long word, we don't think, we're not that sharp to remember that, oh, there's a letter in the end that has a floating tail. I even do it myself. Let's say there is a word by mistake. I wrote here, I started here, and then I realized there's a wow, fine, I just push it down and it's not the end of the world. But we shouldn't be doing that. And in an ideal world, when you're learning to handwrite nicely, you should do it this way. Boo. Okay? So this is the U. Now, at the end of the word, the wow also looks the same because it's a star letter. So basically, look, this is when it's alone. This is when it's at the beginning of the word. This is when it's in the middle of the word. And this is when it's at the end of the word. So again, star, 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 star. How do I join them? This is the initial form. This is the middle form. And this is the final form. Do I join it like that? It's correct? Of course it's not. Because the wow is a star letter. This tail is pointless. It becomes redundant. The same here. Look, this is a star letter here, which means this tail here is pointless. It's redundant. So I have to erase it. And that's how I join them. Ooh, wow plus wow plus wow. You won't see it usually, but you know, just for you to see that these don't join on the left. Okay, yeah, let me erase. Now that we know the wow as well, we learned to write the wow. I'm gonna quickly, very quickly, rewrite the list of the letters that we already know. Yalla, write it with me. If you don't have the list, that's your chance, yeah? This is maybe the only time I can repeat everything we did before because it might be difficult. The more letters we know, I'm not going to repeat the ones before every time. But this time I'm going to quickly recap, okay? So we know the letter ba. This is alone. This is at the beginning of the word. This is in the middle of the word. And this is at the end of the word. I'm going fast now because I assume you did the first two videos, okay? We also know the letter ta. Yalla, create a very nice list. It would be like a dictionary for you to refer to. Ta or te in Lebanese. You can use the dash or two dots, as I said the other day. It's the same, okay? Two dots. To remember it, you can remember the word below. You see the dot is below, and here it's on top. The two dots are on top like a T, and B like below. So this is the letter B or ba, T or ta. In Lebanese, we pronounce it E, T, B, T. But in Arabic, they pronounce it ba, ta, as if Lebanese is not Arabic, you know, but you know what I mean. So we have ba, ta, and now we have the noon. Noon is curvier. It's from the same family, but it's curvier. You see, this is more flat, but the noon is curvy. Let me scroll a bit more up. Okay, so that's the noon when it's alone. Then we have the noon at the beginning of the word, the noon at the end, in the middle of the word, sorry, and the noon at the end of the word. It's a flying, floating tail, which means if we had a letter before, it has to be pushed up, just like the letter waw, right? We will practice a few words now anyways. So we did ba, ta, tha, noon. Now we will do, we didn't do the tha, sorry, I forgot to do the tha. This is the letter tha. It's flat like the ba and the ta. Alone, at the beginning, in the middle. Again, guys, I'm going fast here because you already know this from the first two lessons. This is the tha, as in the word thunder. To remember what punctuation to put for it, you can remember that whenever there's a thunder, you need a hat, the letter has a hat. Or, of course, it can also be three dots instead of a hat, like that. It would be the same. Okay? Th, and now we have the ya. It starts like an S, or you can think of it as a duck, which is floating on my horizontal line. It has two legs, yellow duck. That's how you can remember it. The sound y, yellow duck, because it has feet under the water. Okay? That's when it's alone, at the beginning, in the middle of the word, and at the end of the word, it also has a floating tail. So this is my tail, and this is the final shape of the ya. Oops, I put a dot on top by mistake. It has to be either two dots under, yellow, or a dash under. So these were the letters that we knew before, and today we added two to the list. Let me write them as well, so you can add it on a nice list like that. Yeah, and we did the alif and the waw. So let me just 1 second add another line. Yeah, okay, and now I can increase the size. Okay, so we have the alif. My lines are a bit close, so I'm going to start, no, I'm just going to do it here. So this is the alif, this is the initial form of the alif, plus this is the middle form of the alif, plus this is the final form of the alif. Okay? And finally, we have the letter waw, which, okay, by the way, this is thunder, this is yellow or cloudy. This is a quick recap, guys, for those of you who are joining now. And this is the alif, which sounds like a or a sometimes, a or a in Lebanese. And finally, we have the letter waw. The name of the letter is waw, and the sound is w as in window or u as in boots. So it's a big comma that sits on the line. It's a star letter. By the way, the alif is also a star letter, and the waw is also a star letter. That's why at the beginning it will look the same. In the middle, it will need a tail. And at the end, it will also need a tail. Okay? Who has questions so far? Let me check. Oops, so many comments. Okay, wait. Life is strange. You can know the letters because now this is the third lesson. You can join them. Okay, you can do lessons 1 and 2. Just go now, do lesson 1 and 2 in your own time, and then you can come back to lesson 3. Okay. PC that's more than ever. Okay. Okay. Yalla. On Instagram, anyone has a question? I'm gonna check in the end for Instagram. Okay. because it looks like no one had a question. Okay, we finished the lesson, but we're going to practice doing some words, sorry. So if you don't know the letters before, just, I don't think you can go further, but you can try. But if you know the letters that we did before, yalla, you can join me in forming some real life words, like words that have a meaning, okay? Yalla. So let me erase my board here. Oops. One second, okay? I'm just cleaning things so we can write freely. So, yalla. Okay, so I have here, we did before the word bait, yeah? I have it on my list here. We did bait. Ba plus ya plus ta. So this I'm going a bit fast because we did this word before. We still didn't do these punctuations, the short vowels, but it's coming soon. So for now, don't worry about the how and why we're pronouncing it that way. I'm going to write the pronunciation on the side. But later on, when you learn the fatha, dhamma, kasra, all of that, it will be really, really easy for you. Okay? So, bayt in Arabic is a house. Bayt. You see, I'm not removing my hand when I'm writing it, so it's bayt. But if I want to write the word biyut, which is the plural of bayt, it won't look the same, of course, because it will have a waw. So yalla, write with me. We need, always guys, whenever you're writing, whenever you're learning to write, I really advise you to do it in 3 steps. Firstly, write the letters whenever they are in their separate shapes. Then you write them in their alone shape, beginning, middle, and final shapes. And then you join them like that. Your brain is really analyzing. It's going back and forth between the separate form, the middle form, and the final form, It's very good for you to internalize all the information. So yeah, let's write the word biyut this time. We will write the word biyut. So we have the ba plus ya, be and ye in Lebanese, that's how I pronounce it. We have the waw, and we have another te. So biyut يعني houses. So how am I gonna write this? I'm not gonna quickly come and join it and just tell you, oh, that's it, we joined it and it's very easy. No, it's not easy, especially if you're new learners. So let's analyze. We have one letter when it's at the beginning of the word. We have 2 letters that are in the middle of the word. And we have 1 letter that's at the end of the word. So we need the initial form of the ba, the middle forms of these 2, and the final form of the ta. So, yalla, what is the initial form of the ba? It's this one here. It's a straight line, sharp. If you're already starting to create the list, you should know this by now. Okay? Then I'm gonna write a plus. And then I will come here and think, oh, do I need the initial form of the ya, the middle, the final, which one? The middle, of course, because it's at the middle, in the middle of the word. So I will draw the ya. This is the middle form of the ya. It can be either 2 dots or a dash. I like to draw a dash when I'm handwriting. So that's the middle form of the ya. And then we will go to the letter waw. And I will need a tail here because it's the middle form. And the waw. Of course, I don't remove my hand. I just removed my hand to show you. Okay? Now, this is a star letter, remember. I'm gonna, for now, just draw it so you see, like that. But I will not need this tail because it's followed by a star letter. So I'm just gonna go ahead and erase this. So now I have everything in front of my eyes. There's no way I can get confused. Why? Because they're here. All what I need to do is just put them together with the tails overlapping on top of each other. So I'm gonna add one more detail before I start. Let's check, is there any letter here that has a floating tail? Yes? No? Yes, there is. It's visible. It's in front of our eyes. It's this one. The letter waw. You see this tail? It's floating Okay, what does this mean perfect? We know it's floating. So the next thing we will think about, okay, then I will need to push these two up when I start to write, which means I have to start higher. طيب, I will start higher. So I'm going to start higher with my B. I'm going to write it here a bit higher. And then I will follow it with the middle form of the ya, which is this one. It's in front of my eyes. All I need to do is join it to the letter before. That's it. This is the tail. That's it. I joined it. And the next one, that's the waw with its tail that is floating. It's higher. So I'm going to draw it here. This is the tail and the u. And finally, the te is on its own. It doesn't have a tail and it doesn't join to the letter before. So that's the te. And that's how you have the word butte. Butte. Now let's pretend I forgot to go higher here and I started here. B, y, u. It's fine. I mean, it's not, as I always say, it's not the end of the word. Somebody, when they read it, they will understand it. But it's not it's not nice handwriting. Just do it the proper way. Should be like that. Okay? So I want to rewrite this word, this time without removing my hand, so that you guys can see how it should look, the way, how your hand should move. Okay? So this is my ba, this is my ya, u, and te. And now I add my punctuations in the end. B, y, u, t. Butte. Okay? Butte. In standard Arabic, they say buyut, if you're a standard Arabic learner. In Lebanese Arabic, we pronounce it butte. Okay? So this is one word. Let me see what other word we can write. Oh, we can write the word piano. In Arabic, whenever we want to write a P, we write it as a B. And that's why we have especially Egyptians do it. Whenever they want to say piano or pizza, they say piano, pizza. Okay? Because that's the way we write it in Arabic, because we don't have an equivalent to the letter P. So we will write it with a B in Arabic, okay? So it's piano. Some Arabs pronounce it as piano. So we will need, let me take a sip. We will need the B plus ye. You can also pronounce them as ba and ya in standard Arabic, plus alif, plus noon, plus waw. Okay? These are the letters we need for piano. B, y, a, n, o, piano, which we pronounce as piano. Okay? So let's analyze. We have here 3 letters, and so these are in the middle. And we have here at the beginning and at the end. So what is the beginning form of the ba? It is a sharp line with a tail. Ba. Plus, what is the middle form of the ya? It's a tail with a sharp line up and like that. Okay? What is the middle form of the ya? It's a tail with a long line, alif. Oh, but remember the alif is a star letter. So I'm going to put this star here. And I'm just going to do like a random noon with its tail. Oh, we have 2 information here actually. We have a star letter and here we have a floating letter. What does that mean? Which means I'm going to for now write the noon with its tail for you to see. That's the middle form usually. And the final form of the waw is a floating tail with a big comma. So we have 2 pieces of information here. The alif is a star letter. Okay, great, which means the next letter will lose its tail. Okay, great. And then we have a waw that has a floating tail. Okay, which means the letter before should be pushed up. Now, usually, if we didn't have a star letter and all these joined, all of these were going to be pushed up. But not in this case. Why? Because the word is separated kind of with the star letter here, the alif. So basically, it should look like that. Look. You start with the B on the line, not floating. And then you have the ye. I'm removing my hand just for you to see, but later try not to remove your hand. Ye. And then the alif. Okay? Now, the waw is a floating tail letter. You see, this is the tail. So I have to start with my noon higher. I started the noon higher, so that it can immediately join to the tail and it sits on the line. Piano. Okay? So you see, because the letter Alif is a star letter, it kind of split. And this one was only raised up. The noon only was raised up. We didn't write P, Y, A, no, piano, high like that. No, because the wow only raises up the letters that joins to them. These are not joined, you see, there's a gap here. So I don't need to push them high. So that's why I wrote it this way here. So let me erase all this mess and then rewrite it for you. So we have a ba for the P, the equivalent of the P, B, Y, A plus noon plus waw, B, Y, Alif, noon, waw, which will be initial, middle, middle, middle without a tail because it's followed by a star letter. So it will be like this. And then the waw. Now I join them. P, Y, A. You see, I didn't remove my hand, and now I'm putting my dots. And then you have the N and U. Piano, pronounced as piano. Okay. Now this one, I could have made it a bit straighter so you don't get confused with another letter, which we will learn later on. So make sure it's really straight. So straight line, straight line. Okay, you see the alif is taller than my ba, ya, and noon and waw. So that's the word piano. Shall we do one more word? Shoo, guys. What do you say? YouTube, Instagram. Should I do one more word? Let me know. Or it's too much information. Shoo. Yes, for those of you who are saying about the camera changing the focus, go to my YouTube. As I said at the beginning, go to my YouTube and follow it there. It's going to be much, much clearer. Yeah, like the whole screen will be in front of you. Okay? Yalla, let's write one more word. Let's write the word vegetarian. We say nabete. Nabet is vegetables, and nabete is vegetarian. Do I have any other words with the waw so I can practice it? Oh yeah, actually no, you know what? I'm not gonna give you the word vegetarian because I want to practice the waw. So let's say toot. Toot is berries, toot. That's how you pronounce it. So you would need a te plus waw, which will sound as a oo, and te, toot. You see? T, oo, t, toot. How do you join them? You have the initial form of the te plus the waw with a floating tail. It's a star letter. I'm going to put a star next to it. Plus the final form of the te. I will draw the tail. But do I really need the tail? No, because there's a star letter before. So I'm going to erase my tail. The waw erases the tail of the ta. So now I have all of them in front of me. Another question I should ask myself, do I have any floating tails? Yes, this one. Great. I'm going to push them up. I'm going to push the letter before up. So it's all in front of you. You see, this is now in front of you. So there's no way you can get confused. You just join them. So you start with the te higher. Okay, so I'm going to exaggerate with the size. So that's the te. And then you join it with the waw. I'm exaggerating the size. Okay, and then the te. توت. Now, if I don't want to remove my hand, which is ideally the way you should be writing, sometimes even I remove my hand when it's a long word. So it's like this, look. T, wow, T, toot. You can even write it with dots instead of a dash. T, wow, T, with dots, dot, dot, and dot, dot. Okay? I think that's it for today. Let me see if anyone has any questions. Otherwise, you can just leave. And as I said, you can go back and do your previous lessons if you don't know the letters that we did. Can you say that the sound from MSA becomes an A in Lebanese? Not always. Sometimes it stays A, sometimes it stays A. So you should know the word, okay? To know if it's A or A. Gotta go now, but okay, yeah, okay. Watch the watch the videos later, okay? Merci. Yalla. I'm gonna stop the video on YouTube for now and the stream, and I'm gonna check on Instagram if there's any question. Bye, guys. Thank you for watching.